Well guys, although the sunshine has returned to the Ohio River Valley, melting much of the snow here, there's been absolutely no respite for our friends across the Eurasian continent. And with full-blown ice age conditions now taking hold across the entire continent of Europe and beyond, and with over 550 now confirmed dead, we thought we'd better stop in and give you a quick ice age update. The official tally that I have before me shows over 550 confirmed deaths and somewhere between 150,000 and 250,000 plus people still stranded and cut off, most buried within their own homes, entombed by these ice age conditions. In the last 24 hours, Romania has seen 8 more dead, including 13 the night before. Serbia has seen 3 more fatalities, the Czech Republic 1, Austria 1, and in Poland they said that 8 have been killed and 3 the night before. In Italy, the authorities have increased the official death count to 45 after 2 more people were found dead. Authorities state that over 160,000 people are still without power across Italy, and that the villages across the Italian peninsula have received over 9 feet of snow since this event began, burying thousands of villagers within their own homes and forcing the Italian military to work hand to shovel, going door to door. Several villages across the Italian peninsula have warned of food shortages, such as L'Aquila and Tasasco in southern Italy. And farmers across Italy have warned that the weeks of freezing cold and massive snows have collapsed thousands of barns and endangered the lives of millions of farm animals across Italy, preventing farmers from reaching market with their fruit, vegetables, and meat products, and that up to 100,000 tons of food are currently rotting. Now, as you know, this was the first snowfall to reach Rome in a generation. And I have word tonight that another system has moved across the capital city and that snows are once again falling across Rome. And we've also had reports over the last couple weeks that even the famous lagoons and canals of Venice have become iced over and clogged with snow. And that many Venetians have had to actually be rescued and removed from their own homes in that city. And lest anyone question the highly unusual nature of this event, we also have reports from Venice that many of the lagoons are seeing massive fish kill of the native indigenous fish species. Weather forecasts are predicting that up to 11 inches of snow may fall across Italy over the next 48 hours. The official death toll now has reached 8 in France, fatalities being reported in Spain as well, and even the sun-drenched warm Mediterranean isles of Corsica and Sardinia have been hammered. Over 3 feet of snow being reported in Corsica, where the Bastia airport there has been closed for days. And we have a report of a fatality in Sardinia of a man who simply walked out of a hospital in a hospital gown and slippers and who died of hypothermia. That's how cold the temperatures were there. In Sardinia, the death count now has reached 23 in Lithuania, including 12 more deaths over the weekend. More fatalities also being reported over the weekend in Montenegro, where a state of emergency has been ongoing for over a week now. The capital city there shut down, surrounding regions impassable, and 50 train passengers had actually become marooned in the wilderness when their train was blocked by avalanche, and these passengers had been forced to retreat into a nearby tunnel. And luckily, search and rescue crews reported today that they had actually found that group and that all but one of them had made it. Continuing snowfalls in Serbia have hampered operations to reach up to 50,000 people, cut off since the blizzard started 2.5 weeks ago. It is still currently snowing in Serbia, and the nation has basically decided to shut itself down. The government declaring that universities, schools, and companies should basically shut themselves down for a week because the power grid there is under such tremendous strain through these record low temperatures. And power officials stated that unless power consumption was reduced by, I believe they said 10% over the next few days, the entire grid of Serbia could collapse. And obviously if that happens, you can throw these fatality numbers out the window because it's a whole new ballgame at that point. 9 more confirmed fatalities were recorded in Kosovo today, and as an avalanche smashed into 7 homes in one of the villages there. Amazingly, the villagers were able to brave sub-freezing temperatures and fierce snowstorms with hand shovels, and were able to dig into the snow-covered rubble, the remains of these brick homes, and find a surviving child. In Bosnia, the situation is so grim that authorities state that hundreds of people are still trapped in their homes and vehicles, and the entire country there under a state of emergency. The government basically has issued a state of martial law, officially conscripting every able-bodied man in Bosnia able to leave his home who owns a shovel or a vehicle big enough to plow snow to assist in the cleanup. And in the midst of this proclamation today and the initiation of this martial law, it seems that the Olympic Stadium in Bosnia actually collapsed under the weight of these massive snow. And of course, it's been absolute carnage throughout the entire Ukraine, with hundreds killed and thousands hospitalized with frostbite and hypothermia. And one of the reports coming from the Ukraine that really perked my ears was the report showing that basically their entire wheat crop now has been lost. Authorities in Bulgaria have increased the official death toll to 32 this weekend, but that number is likely to increase substantially after an entire village was wiped out by a massive dam break above the village of Bizar that took place at 7 a.m. in the morning. The massive snows and frozen conditions broke this dam apart in the early morning hours, unleashing what witnesses stated was an inland tsunami-like wave of icy water that poured from the dam break, careening down upon Bizar and the surrounding communities. Water levels reached over the second floor in most homes, collapsing many. Bulgaria has initiated a massive rescue effort that is currently underway at the village of Bizar, and helicopters were able to pick up several survivors. And lastly, guys, Romania appears to be in a state of absolute desperation. The 2 weeks of blizzards have dumped over 15 feet of snow across that entire region, and inhabitants have been forced to tunnel their way out of homes or through upper story windows. Airdrops have been taking place via helicopter to provide food supplies to villages throughout Romania, but the Prime Minister of Romania stated that food is running out in these villages despite the airdrops. They're just unable to keep up with demand. And the situation there has become so desperate that ground convoys were organized this weekend to plow their way into some of these villages, and the driving blizzards and freezing temperatures actually turned back these convoys. They were unable to make it into these villages. And villagers were quoted as saying that no one knows how many people are buried alive in those communities. So the situation there has obviously become very critical. And obviously our thoughts and feelings go out to our friends in Romania and Europe and beyond who have suddenly found themselves in a life or death struggle against these Arctic conditions. Anyway, guys, I could literally go on for hours about this subject, and I haven't even had a chance to mention the fact that these conditions are being found throughout other parts of the world as well. We've seen temperatures as low as negative 50 degrees in China. We've seen, I believe 60 or 70 people killed in Japan over the last few weeks because of the massive snows there. Steel frame bridges collapsing. What about the snows in North Africa? I have reports of 15 or 20 people being killed in Algeria, 3 feet of snow in Tunisia, snows in Turkey, on and on and on. Anyway, guys, I could literally go on for hours and hours on this subject. There's so much that I didn't get to, but this rant has gone on long enough. We hope you're doing well. We hope you're being safe, and hopefully it's not an ice age where you are.